Oh, what up? What up? What up? It has been a long day, and I finally am just so glad we're here because I've been thinking about this all day. It is, well, good evening. It is February 2nd, or good morning. It's February 3rd. Uh, my parents caught me vaping on this stream, so out of respect for them, I won't be doing that anymore. So I've got my lollipops, living my best life. So I'm going to be eating candy while I talk to you guys today. Today, like usual, we are talking about the total market cap, the dominance, Bitcoin and ETH, obviously. We're going to go through Ape and Stacks and Casper and Phantom and Kusama. And then we're actually going to go back to Bitcoin and talk about the movement indicator and the support and resistance lines at different time frames. So it's going to be a lot today. What I will ask everybody is if you have questions about a specific time, or because we move around, if you could add the coin, the timeline, the date and the time if you can, where you're looking, because I don't want you to miss we don't want to miss anything and then blow back past it too fast and stuff like that. So long intro. Thanks for coming. And I think Pope is up the rear in the back.
Whoa! Wow! Wow! I don't even know where that came from.
There he comes from the back door.
That was the lollipop. That was awesome. I didn't know about the lollipop. Quan, happy Friday to you. At America, happy Friday. Thanks for showing up. Favorite day of the week. Last day, touch grass for the weekend.
420.
Fourth week, episode 20. That's pretty damn cool. It makes me laugh every time I think of it. I mean, Cana's my first name, let's be honest.
Favorite day.
Without further ado, let's kind of dig into it. And any questions that do come up, Kayla, let me know, and we'll fly from there. Like I said, we always want to kind of leave where we left off, have a look at how we were doing, how our calls look as an overall, and then jump into our most important things. The total market cap on the daily. It looks to me like it's walking up that line, like we said it was going to do. Looks to me like it is still consolidating in this rectangle, which when we were talking about it last, we were saying it had to get up here. It has to now retest this area of consolidation to keep this trend. And that is great because means more money is flowing into the market. And if we look at this on a 4-hour level, we can see it pops out, doesn't retest, pops out, doesn't retest. So it's staying within here, walking up this line. We're looking at that micro bear right there. If I take all the drawings away, we can see. Okay, we've come out of it. We've consolidated. Went up a bit today. People need some money for the weekend. Our lines are parallel. They're not curving, but they're not spreading. We'll probably just see some consolidation over the weekend. We might see a couple of quick in and outs. Most likely, it's going to stay pattern as we've been. And then Monday, Tuesday, we hope to see where we're getting up into these levels. So money came in. How much money came in? This is today. 11.93 billion, and then with the candle, because it's a new candle on Saturday for some people in the world, 16.25.
That's on the are you counting the 4-hour? No, that's on the 4-hour.
It's still the total of this time. So for the day, we're going to be, because it's a new candle, 33, and then that one there. Thank you for that. And then so where we did leave off from yesterday was in there. It's healthy. We're having these curls. We're consolidating. We just got the cross on the daily. It's time to take off. On the 4-hour, it's showing it's ready, consolidating. All of this is good signs. We can see the DOM has been consolidating, starting to pull, and this is what we've been wanting. We want this to pull. I wouldn't be surprised. Same thing, what we were just saying over the weekend. We'll probably see some kind of consolidation along, little bits of ups, little bits of downs, probably some slow trades in different markets, maybe different hours, but for the most part, we're going to stay around here. And because of that, what does that mean? And of course, this is just, what I think is going to happen. But what does it mean in terms of our price point and what's been going on? Bitcoin, remember this big squiggly mess? Right? What did we say about this? We knew it was coming down this whole last period. We got this. We needed the retest, got it, and now we're doing the same thing. We've consolidated in this inner box, this inner rectangle. We talked about how it's roughly 3% each kind of day. It goes up and down. We do get the odd ones that go a lot bigger, and they're usually responded with that time. What goes up goes down as fast, typically. We have, when we take it away, we have our micro bear. We have compression. We know compression either builds more consolidation or a breakout. Breakout either goes up or down. So
I did not believe that was that micro bear Michael Bro was going to cross. It was just so squished together.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you start to look at it on the smaller time frames, on the force, I love the force. This is where we were talking. Everything lines up, right? We can see we have these nice waves. And that's what we want to see. And then when it's following all of our TA and saying where it needs to bounce and go and retest, it's literally staying in the channel. And now on the daily, let's clean this up a bit. I've had a couple of people say, there's a lot of lines. So we talk about retest. We're going to do all the new squiggles next time again. Now we've cleaned it up. What's happened right here?
Is that a cross? Is that a cross right there?
That, but more importantly, we've broken this trend.
So we need to wait for a retest.
Right. This technically right here is your retest. Because when a green candle settles out, we go off the price line at the top of the candle body. We broke it here. We broke it all down here. We confirmed going out of this line here. Now, it doesn't mean it can't pull back, but I mean, we have an indicator here telling us we're about to run. We know it's the weekend, so we're probably going to do this, right? But then we can see it's hopefully, where did it go? Off in a little channel, like something along these lines. And it's going to stop and be retested at these points.
I gotta tell you, I mean, my ignorance rolls in. I thought that the retest needed to, because you're coming out, and I thought the retest needed to be kind of a red candle popping back down before.
Amazing. Great question. This was a red candle. This was
Go
a red
on.
candle.
Tell me more.
Right. Because This is on the daily, right? So there's lots of action that happens in the day. And that's what the wick is. So during the day, it made it all the way up to right here. That is not helping.
Oh, so the retest is just kind of that price action
And then
and how
it
far
came
it.
in, right? It came in, but where's the out price? It's here. The new candle, which we just
Yeah.
got, is here. Even though this stayed in, it's actually out because of that. The wick went in. This should.
Fuck, man, I've been waiting for that. Thank you. You're the best.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna turn on mute now and shut my face.
No. Great question, because that's a lot of people. The reason this is a bottom of support, when we look at, I want to leave that there. I'll just grab this one here, for example. Make sure I'm not on a tool. When we talk about levels of support and resistance, we're looking for how these kind of bottoms of the red, green, reds line up, right? It's made a flat point, right? And if there's a whole bunch of other ones along those same areas or a whole bunch of wicks, it's showing like, okay, maybe in this area. And then when we zoom out, and you can go, oh shit, yeah, it's touching over here, it's touching over here, it's touching over here, touching over there. In these cases, this is support. These wicks made it down to it, right? Then they took off again. So we can see here a little off, but these big wicks. But what we were talking about is this breakout candle, right? And how this is green. But the wicks are showing you how far this went down. So when this candle body was down here at this price point, it was a red candle. But because it pulled all the way up and it was above this point here, which was the last price of this candle. So when this candle ended on that day, we came over here. Now, did we fall down right away? Probably. Cause some panic. Eat some stop losses. Not a lot of support and resistance in here. That one makes sense to me, right? Oh, there we are. So it probably came down, fought its way all the way up to here, which, look at that. Other wicks have too. Look at that. Makes sense. And then probably pulled back, settled here. Day is done. Boom. Same thing. May have had a pullback. And that's when we're looking at these. We broke out for 3 days in a row. We left this trend. The only time a retest happens is when we're now above this trend on a new candle. We're above this trend on this candle, and currently we're here right now. Does that mean it can't break right back in? No, not at all. It doesn't mean it can't do that. That's why we use confluence. So if that happens, and this continues to stay out of this area, that's massive confluence that we're going to follow this up and start walking, which would make sense at our peak up here. Squiggles, gotta love them.
Unreal. I never thought I'd be in the world where those kind of squiggles make a lot of sense to me.
Any questions so far? Remember, if you're there, I can't see the screen, so if you want to ask.
Nothing so far, just some hellos. So everyone's listening.
Let's leave some of these squiggles on. Now, I always say that, and then I'm like, well, it's not what I think is actually going to happen. We're probably going to have some, like I said, consolidation, in here, fight this area and then go off. You can see when we zoom out, and we had that area before support and resistance where the majority of it was, we're still smack dab in the middle of it. This is a healthy spot. We're breaking this line down here. We've had some retracement from this parallel channel up here. 3 touches pulled down. All right. Now we should be off to the races again with these channels. But I can understand lots of squiggles. Right? So let's.
Quan said a bullish on squiggles.
Well, you're going to see a lot of them coming. I can't wait to, and I'll walk through as I'm talking what I'm looking at, and there's questions. I'll try to get to them without, zoning out on that screen when I'm doing what I call the hunt, for lack of better words, I guess. And I'm excited to start that on Monday, where, when I say live training, it means we're hunting. I'm not going to take a trade if it's not there or if it's not lining up to what I'm been doing with you all here for the last 20 episodes, shows, or whatever they're called. And for me, it's been fun, and sounds like some of you are having some fun and learning, and that's what it's all about.
And I don't want people to think that I don't want people to think that they're gonna come in and come in, see a bunch of things with you that'll give you the 1% throughout that hour, right? Because that's ideal and wishful thinking, but
yeah, like there's a lot of the like posters we've made where it says patience, strategy, patience, take profits. That's it. Those are the only three things you got to do in this game. If there's not a trade, don't take it. Patience. God damn, there's so much FOMO the last few days. I've been tied up with so many other things. I haven't even had that on. I want to trade more than anybody wants to watch me trade. I can promise you that. And that's why I'm so. But yeah, if we find them, we're going to take them. But of course, it's not going to be on my exchange. We won't see any of that. And I'll tell you the area, like limit entries and limit outs, where that range is. Because on slower trades, you've got time, right? We're playing the week to 2 weeks for having our capital tied up. Sometimes it would happen faster. Great. Sometimes we have to dollar cost entry because it dips because there's some sort of news or an Elon tweet. It happens, but we try to minimize all that. That's part of the strategy. We know we're not going to get it right all the time, but I mean, if you've been here for the last 20 episodes, we do all right. So Ethereum, same thing as we were talking about before, just walking up, having our compression right into this. We said we were looking for this curl, did that. Now it's starting to go. Now, I think that was probably on the daily. Yeah. Makes more sense that way. And people are asking about, and I saw that we're going to address this after all our normal coins. They were asking about support and resistance and things on the daily. So anytime we've now had a few days, because we drew this up a while ago, I don't know how much longer ago, but we're looking at 20 hours. So we need to retest. Now, this doesn't mean this candle sometime today might not bounce up to here and pull back. Right? We got lots of wicks, lots of price action with Ethereum and Bitcoin. So it may quickly pull up and then pull back and still not retest and come down. So this one might go up and then go right over and pull down. So this is why we're waiting. Now this, after the next few days, probably looks like we could, that's obviously a percentage, probably looks like we would adjust that now. You don't marry your TA, right? And when you're coming and you're like, I mean, how long ago did we do this? It's pretty damn close, right? I mean, oops. Come on. Just get rid of that. There we go. And remember, I'm going off this candle because this candle is still current. Okay. I mean, it came pretty much right to where we were. And when we drew this, we're following that same trajectory. And we were looking at price point in here. Friday, let's get rid of it. And next week, I think, and we'll start every Monday. We'll just mark them up fresh every Monday, and we'll see how the week progresses. And if I'm looking in here now, I'm still looking in this area. And what I would do, since this is the daily, I would zoom in a bit, and it jumps, so I can't get it where I'd actually like it. But zoom in and find where you are. Would I buy right now if I wanted to get into Ethereum and hold it for a few days? We know we can see it starting to curl down. We're about to have that curl in the micro bear. You might get a better entry probably in and around here.
But it is possible that those micro bulls will maybe kick over a little bit and then pop back up, right? Like it's not just because there's a curl,
Oh
it's
yeah.
not
No,
right.
absolutely. That's what I mean. You have to go back, marry it. If it starts to change from what you were looking at, drop it. Especially if it's on a short time frame. On a long time frame, you got some time to go. Okay, is it just a reaction of the market, the news, the sheet? You might get stop lossed out because of that, but I'd rather wait. Because to me, it stands to reason if we start to look at all the consolidation we've been having in this area, and I have money right now to get into a trade. If I want to get in Ethereum, would I buy right now? No. Why not? Because I have a really good feeling somewhere in the next little bit is going to drop into this zone, 2306, which isn't that much from the 2223. When you think about it in dollar value, when you go out and spend $20 for a night, I'm like, what's that difference? Difference is almost 1%. Even if, and that's if it ends here. If it comes back down in this area, it's probably over 1% from current price. 1.32. We're chasing percentages. Just by not being patient, you lost your daily target and plus some. That's what we see on the smaller time frames. So when we see something lining up where we're like, yeah, we want to get in and it's doing what we want it to do on the day, now we got to zoom in and go, where's the best time of the day to buy it? How do we do that? 4 hour, kind of right in the middle, 2 hour, getting near the top. So it looks like we're going to have pullback on the 2 hour candles. 1 hour, definitely starting to see the pullback on the 1 hour. 30 minutes, man, are we getting a pullback? 15 minutes. You can see how this now starts to change. It looks like we're consolidated and we're ready to go again. We have the curl. This is where people are like, oh yeah, we're gonna rock it. We've had the consolidation. I got a whole bunch of flags. Now you very well might. But the odds and the statistics for this kind of stuff, not so much. Like I said, I want to play safe. I'm not here to risk my capital. So that's, I think, what's going on in the market cap, the DOM. I'll save everything. We'll have a look at how we thought the week was going to go on Monday. We'll erase everything and kind of look at what we think is going to happen for the week. And I love these that they're recorded because then we can kind of just see how we've been doing. Is there any questions at the moment? We got some people in the crowd. We can say hi to Ski on a Friday night. Targaryen. I never know how to say that. Targaryen.
I think I got that. Yeah. Did you see Yusuf is in there watching from work?
Nice. You're supposed to be working, buddy. I love it. That's how we know. We're definitely creating it and loving the dedication. Thank you very much. We're having a good time. And once again, this is happy, show 4th week, number 20, makes me laugh. So Kate asked me an interesting question. Do you mind if I talk about that before we jump into the coins? Do you remember what the question was?
Nope. I'm going to grab my lollipop and listen.
The difference between consolidation and
confluence.
Confluence. Thank you. I knew we could get it.
It's 420. Let's lower expectations of ourselves.
The two of us. So consolidation is that rectangle, that box of price action in whatever time frame it seems to be happening. The more you zoom out, weekly, daily, that is solid. your compression area, your consolidation area is stronger on the weekly than it's strong on the day. The smaller you go down, the weaker it gets for strength. So if you're in on the, the 4 hour and you're looking at a thick gold line and that's your weekly and it's a level of resistance, there is a very good chance on that 4 hour you are not breaking it. And that's why I keep those different sizes, thickness, and then colors. So I know weeks are gold, days are like gray, 4 hours of very like light mint green, and those kind of things. And that's the rationale behind my madness. And that's for looking at consolidation, support, resistance. Confluence is when your tools, your technical analysis line up. And when I said I like to do all the technical analysis first and then put the indicators on, because if my TA says this is what I think is going to happen, and I flash on the indicators and the indicators say, this is what we think is going to happen, and it all lines up, fuck yeah, I'm in. And the more of those tools we have that line up together to give you the same info, that's confluence. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I like seeing that constant confirmation as you put those layers in. It looks good here. Okay, it looks good there, and just letting you know, just so you can make that that educated, well, that hypothesis, I guess.
Sweet. Let's jump into the coins we've talked about for the last little while. The coins moving forward next shows will be the coins that we're going to actually actively be trading in. And we'll probably revisit some of these because we've had them for so long, we've gotten to know them. But for the most part, it'll be the coins that we're invested in throughout the different trades. Once again, not financial advice, fuck course, blah, blah, blah. So let's do it. Give me a sec here. So we've done AIMP, Phantom, and Kasuma. I'm going to kind of plow through these. It's Friday. We're halfway through the show. If there are questions, I will pause and answer because I do still want to get to movement direction for Quan. I mean, it is pretty much doing what we did say, that these big ups are usually just matched with the big downs to match them. Quick profit in and out. And it pretty much looks like that's exactly what happened. We can see we had our compression that broke, our triangle, sorry, our flag, but within the triangle. Look how fast that broke, just as fast as it goes up. And this is why I keep saying when we see these big ups, the big downs are coming. Chase the hopium, we take your money. Chase the hopium, we take your money. And where are we in all of this? Let's get rid of this now because it played out. We're still, make sure, where are my tools? We're still on this downward trend, but we've broken it. We've come out, had massive, but we've still, even on our pullback, we've broken it. We're out of this downward trend now. So now we're consolidating. Let me zoom out.
Are you referring to consolidating within the purple support and resistance? Yeah.
That is consolidation right in here. Absolutely.
Yeah, but even if it pops out, then we're coming back in and consolidating in the same area.
Yes.
Got it. Got it.
We have two. I'm going to go back to the daily because I'm going to clean this up so we can look at it better. I'm going to take the big one away. It's just causing a lot of stuff. So on the daily, this here, on this one here, remember we had two. This was our most localized coming down. We broke out. This is our retest candle. Boom. But this is why I always say, wait for the pullback because it's coming. And here it is. And we're right here, which where our target was. We're just there a little earlier than I thought. I thought we would have been pulled down a little more. But this candle still has 20 hours. And this is where I wish we could. I think we'll still be somewhere in here. We're right up lined with where we thought our drawings were going to be. I mean, we're off a tiny little bit. My bad. But now on this longer trend, this is the candle that needs to retest because we've broken out, but we pulled right back in. Yesterday did not give us, just checking real quick, did not give us this breakout on this downward line. It damn near tried, and the wick got somewhere in here. You know, I mean, we were so close. And we're still on target. What do we think is going to happen on the weekend? It slows down. And I would like to see consolidation probably in this area, but I would like to see a retest. If we don't get a retest, we're coming down, then we have to break out again and retest again. And this becomes moot. We got to destroy it. But right now, it's doing what we thought it would do. And if it continues to do what we think it will do, then we get in and we go off to the races. And we take, say we get in here and it does play out what we're looking. Let's just take the middle. And we get to there, that's 6.66%. Hello. So that's 8. Phantom. I mean, even just in this view. So Phantom was our minimum, help me out here, Kate.
Minimum?
Minimalist.
Minimalist?
Thank you. Get her a prize.
I'll take a lollipop.
This was our minimum, whatever she said, way to do TA. And we only have one indicator on. And we did this. Everything's a blur right now because I work pretty much nonstop. When did we do this? Was this yesterday or 2 days ago?
I think we did it yesterday, but was it a different timeline that we put that thing in? Because I think maybe did you go all the way up to the last?
I can tell that's where that's a weekly. I haven't set my colors, but I can just tell by that. But the point was, it's doing exactly what we thought it would do. We're still looking for an entry. On a slow trade right now, we are so looking at this. Absolutely. And then we'll zoom in. And we'll add all of our indicators because we were just focusing on that one at the time. Leave the sessions off. Consolidating, saying we're looking like it wants to go in. Got that belly right there. Got an entry down here, which was right on this, you know. But our movement was still down. Yeah, we could have had a better entry. We could have made profit. But we're in a downward trend on a 4-hour. This could easily just pull one of these just as fast. I don't have that security of a retest, confirmation of a cross, and go. I only need a few percent to be very profitable. You've already seen that with the 1. We follow these kind of trades on a few days. Let's watch what happens. It's the beautiful thing about this. We can actually watch. Not financial advice, back, of course. Kusama. Damn, I love this shit. Look at that. That's enough Kusama. Speaks for itself. Fuck. I mean, let's be honest. Casper. Interesting. Here's where we said to short it. Still love you, Amir. No offense. But look what it's starting to do here when we said this line. You can see that little blue line right there is where it's curling. That's the micro bear. This line right here. We said best case scenario, I wanted to see this swoop up here and get the cross somewhere in here and start to go. But because of how much it's been coming down, it made sense to me. We may test this weekly because it's gold, thick because it's probably significant weekly. That's a possibility. We haven't retested this downward path, but we're coming close. Maybe this candle today breaks out, pulls back, and we have a retest. And then this is playing out. Or it just stays in the channel, and then this is playing out.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Absolutely.
I was talking, I believe it was 22 Targaryen earlier. I don't know if they saw my message on Discord, because they were asking if we could, like on one timeline, have your lines there and then have those removed when you go. Like the week has that's lined, but you don't see them on the daily. I don't know if that makes sense.
I do.
And so I think I did look it up, and you actually can do that. But because of what we were just looking at, it shows me that because you're saying that you're kind of getting drawn more into the weekly, just because there's such a strong point of support and resistance, that sometimes when you're coming up and down, you want to see both of them at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. Like I want to know where my upper trend lines are, and I want to know where my upper. Now this is a mess because we've been working on this since here.
Well, I think that was the concern, because people were saying it's just getting a little too messy. You know what I mean? Like it gets a lot to look at.
Yeah.
Which I understand.
And that's why when we did, I think it was Phantom, the minimalist. See, I got it.
Nailed it.
Right. So this is all the same information presented a little differently. But sometimes to understand, and that's why I did that one day of the exercise of just to go through and do this, is because I don't expect you to be able to see these levels of support and resistance now throughout the history and be able to line them up and see them from afar. Most rookies can't. If you can, how? Like, hallelujah. So in the beginning, it's to definitely give you the practice of doing it. But then when sorry, that might cause a seizure. When you start to see where they are, you start to use your cursor to line them up to go, okay, yeah, this is making sense. It doesn't mean when I zoom in that I don't use them. But we know if we put a bunch in lower time frames and then you zoom out, and we'll just do this quickly. Am I unlocked? I have. So we can see, okay, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. Oops, that one's a little.
Now you're just bragging.
And you can just start. Oh, my bad. And you can go, okay, there's all these little support. This one's strong because it's weekly. And if we did the colors right when we marked this up, to be clear, right? So we can go, oh yeah, we've got all these different levels of support. We're probably going to bounce in and around all these different areas, which makes sense. But we just did this on the 1 hour. Look what that looks like. So when we actually start to look at our top, bing, 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 and hit there, resistance there. But what a cluster to look at. So what I'll do I will take the chart off the screen so I don't give anybody a seizure from doing the quick rewind and back tests. Oh, fancy. We're getting this. So when I'm looking at it on a minimalist perspective, I can see we're starting to get ready to go. And if I was going to be trading on a lower time frame now, say here, I'm going to start looking at 4 hours. Now, when I'm in the 4 hour and I'm going to trade on the 4 hour, yeah, I'm going to put some in. I'm only getting on the 4 hour when I know the weekly, when I know the daily. Oops. And then if I'm trading the fours, the only time I'm leaving the fours is to zoom down to see if there's a better entry coming to save me a little percent or a better exit coming to save me a little percent. But I'm not trading on the fours going, I'm going to jump in and out on the 15s on the fours. No, because I'm planning to get this bottom entry or wait for the cross here because we know of this, right? And then get up. I'm only trying to catch those percentages over time, right? So if you got in here and you're getting out there, that's still a day and 16 hours. If you're trading on the fours and keep jumping down on the 15s and 30s and trying to get in and out, that's not going to work.
I
You
can't
got
quite see that percentage because it's on a white line. What is that? What is that
to
space? Is it
4.8, I believe.
8? Okay, thank
Eight
you.
or six. 8 or 6. Um, yeah. So I hope that helps with the time frame or time. Yeah, time. I always get frame and zone mixed up. The editors hated that. I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, it does for me. If anybody has any, further questions from that, if that didn't make any sense, we can just add on to questions in the Discord. So,
So we did Casper, and then we had a question about the support resistance again on the weekly daily, which we just kind of talked about, and then how this movement indicator works was a question by Quan. So this is why it's important to look out, zoom out. All my indicators are going to come on as soon as I do this. I'm just going to put a couple in. For example, I'm on the weekly. Typically, I have weekly on gold, and I change the thickness because weekly is stronger. Support and resistance on a weekly, there's so much price action in these candles that there as a support, oh, not unlocked now, is strong. Why? Resistance, resistance, support, resistance. All this support on a weekly. That's huge. And if we looked on a weekly and you really want to get technical, I mean, you can throw your areas of consolidation typically on top of it as well. Now I would shorten this, shorten this one a little bit because that's where it's support. Now it's support again, resistance. And here's been our consolidation. So as long as we stay in this area, Bitcoin's doing exactly what we've been saying it's going to do for a while. And you can go, okay, yeah, it's a little less there. Sure, go ahead. That's where it has minus the wicks. How does it look down here? Still support, still resistance. We're basically trying to get out of this little area on the weekly to get into this one. And damn, we tested it. So that's on the weekly. And if we look at our trend lines, and we know we go from our last local high to where it shifted to a low, and then our last daily candle. If you want to get a little more other than quick and dirty, zoom in. There's our last daily candle. We also know now this line is technically a parallel channel. We have come out, we have yet to retest this line. Look at where we're fighting on the weekly for retest, right at the top of this consolidation that we just did quick and dirty. There it is, even better. That's right where the wick.
Question
Yeah.
when you're ready.
Far away.
For Anna America, does the range dictate how far back you go? You're far back on Bitcoin now because it's weekly. Would you look closer for daily than the 4-hour? Imagine if you have to go in, you'd have to look closer.
Okay, so
right?
Absolutely. Like, this is what I am going to do. I will always start on the weekly. So I would have all these on my colors. Like this green would still be gold, and it would be 2 point. Because when I zoom in now, I know this is a weekly. Right? I know these are weeklies. So I know these are very strong. But what happens when we do get on the daily? Look how much that information, when you zoom out, is different. I'll make sure I'm on the right tools. So on the daily, I'll zoom in a little more. And by a little more, I'll try to find my last localized low and my last localized high. And I'm going to do trend lines just like I did. Now, you can go to here and make it really ugly. What I would normally do just is I'd go here. It's my localized. We've had a lot of support in this area, resistance, right? So on a daily, you can drop, there's your support and resistance line on a major, right? It's holding a lot of support in this area, holding resistance in this. So when I said trend lines, let's get it so it's all matching. So now we know I use these light grays. I just happened to pick them because there was no other color that I was using that. And that there, quick and dirty, zoom in if you want later, is our trend line up over the last while. I mean, that's a fair amount of time. We've broken out of this downward trend from the weekly. Would we know we broken out of this downward weekly trend if that line wasn't there? Weekly consolidation box. Look how much we've been bouncing around in this in the daily. Why? Because it's weekly. It holds all this info. It was obscure for these days that we're out of it. Right? So we can drop, even if you want, some daily, support and resistance in. We'll just drop a couple. Now we've done our bottom trend line. Where's our last localized high? Last candle. I'll just pick it out so it's bigger line noticeable. Weekly, daily, crawling up from a long time in the past. There's this right here. It's a retest on the daily.
So it's just a higher chance it's going to hover around those weekly lines.
And this is a weekly resistance. We know weekends are slower. This is why I just say we're just going to bounce in this area for the weekend, hopefully get out, retest, and go. Why? Because all the info is right there. Now, we talked about confluence. This is just technical analysis, squiggles and lines. Love this shit. There's our cross.
Such a junkie.
Ready to go. We get that retest, and if all market conditions stay the same and blah, 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 we're off to the races. And we're probably off to the races up and down over the time. But it takes, like I said, a tweet from Elon, China, FOMOC doesn't really do too much. Actually, Supreme and I were talking about that in the Discord because I still can't remember what it's for. I told you I'd forget. And then I said, ironically, it's the interest rates and the unemployment rates that tend to affect the markets more, and the unemployment rates came up. And it didn't really do anything. It was a nothing burger, as he said, and I love that expression. So can we retest these highs on the daily? Absolutely. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to settle into this next zone. Right. And there's going to be news and FUD. We're going to stop here. We're going to stop here. And we may rock it up. And when we do, we typically come right back down and then we go through. And that's why we use all of our TA and our indicators to give us the confluence that we were talking about before. Critical greed fired. Boom. Get out. Wait, you got a movement indicator telling you it's going this way now. Now we did. Now we're consolidating in this area. What is all this saying? We got a little curve down here. We broke out of this weekly trend line. We stayed above it. Another hit. Probably no, we're not going to stay up in here long because this is weekly. And we've never had a candle stay in it, but we still hit it. And we still have the spread. And you can see where this curls. We have Bollinger telling you to get out. We have a day trend line telling you to get out. Just because this says long doesn't mean it's going to continue to go. This was a hard word for me to pick because long means, long, short means, liquidity short. And it's not buy or sell. It's movement. Now, this works really well on lower time frames. I'm going to show how this works, and I'm going to do it on Bitcoin. Because when you see this tool, and we can go through this tool more, it becomes really powerful. But you have to understand all this before you can start to really use this tool to its success.
I'm glad you say that because I've never really understood. I mean, I know what the word short means. I know what the word long means, but not in this context. So I've always felt like I've been ignoring it because everyone else got it but me. So I'm really glad that you said that this stuff is important first.
Cool. So how does this indicator work? I mean, we're 8 minutes to the hour. I'm going to be honest. Sorry, Kwan. It's going to take more than 8 minutes. But to give you an idea, can I just hide the indicator, the drawings? I'm pretty sure if I do a fib, it's going to pull everything out. Yeah. And I did it on the wrong end anyways. So it is delayed. But when it fired on the daily here, right? So it fired as soon as this candle hit. But we know when we're up high, we're going to have a retracement and a pullback. Pulled all the way to 382. Right? So we're going to buy on a retracement, and then we're going to take profits along the way up on these lines to get up there. How do we do that? Is we zoom in. Oh, I'm nuts. Hold on. There's a few steps to it, so I say it's going to take a little longer then. So this fired, and now this is our candle where we dropped it. So to mark it, I'm going to use an arrow. Then we zoom in. And this is going to be a mess. So this is where it fired. Now we know this is what I mean. I don't have enough time. Sorry, but we'll get it. We'll get it.
I think we need a bigger screen.
Yeah, it's hard to do this on my travel laptop versus that. So it's saying it's going to get to this white line. So I just put a trend line on it. I'm going to make that trend line 3 points so we can't miss it. And let's use a color we're not using. Hard to miss that magenta, whatever that is. So we know it fired here on the daily. We laid the Fibonacci over top from the bottom wick to the top wick. We know we're going in the upward motion, and we got the firing on this candle. Laid, now let's zoom in. Because none of this has happened yet. So it's saying we're going to get to this magenta line. We know in a day there's going to be pullback. Wait for your pullback on the shorter time frames. I mean, we even got one here saying it was coming down to here. You could have caught two, depending where you were up here, and then taken out. So we know what happened here. Let's say we mistimed your entry, because entries are never perfect. And say we panicked and we got in up here because we didn't want to miss it. But say you did notice this call and you wanted to play the resistance. So you took a limit buy entry in this zone and your take profits where it's telling you. Because remember, it fired over here. That's as fast as I can show it without trying to answer a whole bunch of questions. This is an extremely powerful tool when you know how to use it. And we're getting smaller percents. But you have to master all these other things first before you can start to look at rainbows. Even though I like sunshine and rainbows. So I hope that answers a lot of the questions. It is Happy Friday. I hope you all have a great weekend. Anything else?
No, I mean, that whole Fibonacci thing, I've got to go over again. And I'm assuming that's one thing that you can add on top of all the other stuff just to confirm more kind of where you're at and what you've decided. So we're just going to layer all this stuff on. So I am not going to, I haven't logged it. I got to be honest with you. I understand it, that it's a thing. Kind of know where you're going, but I'm definitely going to have to practice with that later on.
And I know we don't have a module walking through that quite yet because a lot of our friends and family that are at that level of where they need to go through all that other stuff before they start digesting that. But we have some really good traders in here. And as soon as I start walking through that, Primo, he's our editor, makes me look good with all the modules. We'll cut that up so you can always refer back to it. And then if you're watching the live trading or the hunt, you'll see me doing this. And as we've talked before, the more you see TA, the more you see the practice, the more you hear the way I'm thinking about it or how I'm looking at it, the better you get at it. And then when you're around like-minded people, Supreme, Desi, and a few others that are in a Discord, Amir, Ryan, that have trading experience and they see something different, but it comes to the same answer, that's even more confluence on a completely different viewpoint of the same problem. Because we're trying to find entry exits. That's our problem solution. And when you get all that together, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I'd say so. It's coming together.
I leave it to you.
Thanks, baby. Glad you've been here. Kick to the back door or up the rear, where you came from.
I don't even know where that came from.
No, I said it earlier.
No, I mean, even earlier, I don't know where that came from.
Me neither, man. Thanks, everybody. If you, there's things that I forgotten realized through this whole thing. So if you have any further questions, throw them in there. We'll know. We'll find it. We'll readdress it. Have a great weekend. Bye, Pope.
Happy Friday, guys. And we did it. We stuck to the hour. I love it.
Fucking nailing it.